Hi, I'm Elijah, and as you know, I'm a Sonic fan. Not those types, these types. I enjoy everything about Sonic. I like his character, which is why I'm about to hang this poster of his peak design. And just like that, this is Sonic's peak design. This has to be a mistake, right? Who's this guy again? When creating a book, TV show, or movie, there are many factors that make the work stand out. The world, the villains, the voice acting, the public advertising, and the main factor, the main character. What, you thought I was gonna say Coca-Cola? When it comes to a character that reaches the heart of many, the design is what most people associate them for. Sure, they can have writing that's awesome that makes people swoon, but with characters, you need a design that complements their writing. When you write a character that has some flaws, their look will go nicely. Sure, while a lot of people can write a character, some don't really go well design-wise, or written-wise. That's why a few and far between nail them to a T. Many have stood the test of time like Mickey Mouse, Spider-Man, Batman, Shrek, the list goes on. And video games are no different. Sure, back then they weren't so big on story like they are nowadays, but video games were and still always be remembered by their worlds and their characters. Or box art. I can't believe they actually approved on this. However, when it comes to time and people's taste, they change, like puberty. Many characters made changes to grow with people's taste, the enhancements of technology, or screw this thing is new and hip thing. Which is why there are different types of styles of these game characters that people like to see. So today, we will look at every video game character design known to man. Now we can't go over all video game characters as there's too many of them, so here's a few that I cherry picked. Also, I will be using promotional art instead of the in-game models. But who knows, I'll probably put some honorable mentions in there. I did my best, and this is the world of this design. First off, the first video game character ever made, Pac-Man. Now when it comes to Pac-Man, his design wasn't really that hard to draw. He resembles a pie, missing a slice. And he's yellow. However, in the arcades in the US, you see that yellow thing? He's supposed to be Pac-Man. What? No way! I never knew this as a kid. I always just thought it was another ghost. When designing the characters and enemies in the game, creator Toru Iwatani wanted it to be cute and not scary to appeal to a female demographic. And besides, in promotional art in Japan, he looks on par with what Pac-Man does today. Also, I will get a lot of flack if I don't say this, but Pac-Man was originally going to be named Puck-Man as he looked like a puck. But they changed his name due to the fear of people vandalizing arcade machines where they would scribble out the P and add an F to, well, I can't say that on TV. In the 80s, where Pac-Man got a few more games and a TV show, they gave him a hat. Damn, he looks dapper! Until they got rid of it. Damn, he looks hip! This was Pac-Man's design for all of time. It was that or his puck look, which they'll make him 3D on some occasions. But I mean, this isn't bad or anything, it's just doesn't really look like Pac-Man to me. Cause I need to ask, who the hell looked at this and said, yeah, this is good. You don't see Donkey Kong changing with times, now do you? With that, the 80s saw more games coming out like Donkey Kong. This one is gonna be a 2-in-1 characters in the game. With the original Donkey Kong arcade game, Donkey Kong looked like a Donkey Kong. I mean, he is a gorilla, I don't know how distinct he could get, but Jumpman almost looks on par with Mario today. And Pauline has blonde hair instead of black, so she's dyeing it. Never thought a video game character could lie to me. But when Donkey Kong made his big break in 1994, it's the same thing! I mean, he was given his trademark tie, no brainer. But with Donkey Kong Country, I never got this. So they based him off real gorillas, no brainer. But looking at this model, it just looks plain creepy. Like the fur doesn't even look like real fur. And the black gaps in his eyes, I always thought he was tired. But by Donkey Kong 64, they somehow made it look less creepy and actually appealing to look at. By now, Donkey Kong looks more like a gorilla and a Donkey Kong at the same time. Now, why do I call him a Donkey Kong? Because what else are you gonna call it? A Mario? You can't call it that because Mario's a Mario. After the tragedy that was Donkey Kong 3, they took Jumpman and ran the with it. They changed him into Mario, a plumber with a brother who featured in the game Mario Brothers. They look nothing like how they do today. If you were to tell me that that's the Mario Brothers, bullshit! The only thing I could distinct of these being the Mario Brothers is the colors on each other's clothes. But when the Nintendo Entertainment System came along with Super Mario Bros., we didn't get official Mario art until Super Mario Bros. 2. And it looks fine, but How do you mix the overalls and shirt color? It's not a big issue, I've seen this design way too much in stuff like the shows. It wasn't until Super Mario Bros. 3 where we have the neutral Mario colors and design. This is the best that he will ever look. But when it came time for him to make the jump into 3D, well, I didn't know he had jaundice. I get it, this was a new age for gaming where 3D was becoming the norm and characters were getting facelifts. But Mario's render for Super Mario 64? It looked like some weird clay sculpture. Thankfully, by the 2000s, they somehow perfected the Mario design, and it's on par with who they are in the game. Come to think of it, Luigi wasn't really given anything back in the NES days other than height and a leaner body compared to Mario. But now he has more exaggerated features for the way he looks in Luigi's Mansion. By 2017, we got the best design of Mario in a while. I will say that due to the textures that they gave him on his denim. I'm pretty sure you can guess who's a fan. My only complaint is, why are his shoes that shiny? Plumber shoes aren't supposed to be that shiny. Recently, Nintendo made a new render of Mario, and I like it. It's less detailed than before and more detailed at the same time, but we don't know what his shoes look like. You know whose shoes I know look like? What are you? Sonic the Hedgehog. Since his debut in 1991, he's always had those blue quills, white gloves, and red shoes with the straps and buckles. Actually, only in the Sonic Bible and Fleetway comics, Sonic was originally brawn and had regular shoes. Thank God this wasn't real. The red shoes were Sonic's most notable wardrobe, and that's saying much because he doesn't wear pants. However, when Sonic made the jump to 3D with the Sega Saturn, he still looked the same as he does, until the Dreamcast era. This is a lot to swallow. It's still Sonic, he's just a little taller, a little leaner, more details on his shoes, green eyes, longer quills, and darker blue. The reason for this design change was made by one Yuji Yukawa, and man, I adore his artwork. He gives his art this type of graffiti shine to it, and I love it. The reason for this was for the transition to make him more akin to the Western market and more older and experienced. Because when you put these two designs side by side, one looks like they've seen more than the other. This is how Sonic would look for the rest of time. Not this design, but similar. Sonic was given these hot dog shoes that would make anybody hungry, including this weird grin with these sticks in the middle, but somehow still iconic. Also, the box art for Sonic Adventure, I like it, but at the same time, it's a fucking lie. Looking at this box art, you'd think that for the rest of the game, Sonic's gonna look like this. But no, you get the Lightspeed shoes and the crystal ring fairly early in the game. And they're alright, I won't lose sleep with this. However, things start to get fucky with Sonic Adventure 2. The soap shoes has its fans. I'm not one of them. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad or anything about it, they kinda look cool. It's just they don't look great on him. Whenever I look at these shoes, my mind immediately thinks of basketball players, not Sonic the frickin' Hedgehog. Also, I just realized this now, but Shadow has the exact same soap shoes as Sonic, and I'm actually cool with them. Is it a brain problem? Well, as someone who doesn't know if they have a brain problem or not would say, I don't know. According to the manual, these shoes help Sonic grind on rails, and that's all. It's used in this game, and Sonic can grind in other games after the soap shoes, and he can grind in his regular shoes. To be fair, they were a promotional material for actual soap shoes. Yeah, since you can't eat these like actual soap, it's a hard pass for me. Thankfully, they went back to the original shoes in Sonic Heroes, but then came Sonic Riders. What is this? Still, it's not bad, it's more tolerable than the soap shoes, which we will never see again. Oh god, I need something to distract me. I take it back. Sonic 06 gave him actual soles, which feels less like shoes that wouldn't exist in the real world to something I could buy at Nike. And speaking of real, good god, he looks pissed and he looks like piss. Thankfully, 2007 made Sonic look like something that you can hang on your wall and not get weird stares from guests. Yeah, but you still do. Sure, we let stuff like this in 2014 happen, but it's not canon, kind of, so I'm cool with it. However, by 2017, hardcore Sonic fans started to get something we in the business call a f***ing aneurysm. Who the fuck are you? Looking at it, you might think, what's the big deal? To that I say nothing, until my mic gets bombarded by a fan that proclaims that Sonic cut his hair. Yeah, by 2017, they made his quill shorter and gave him a lighter blue color, to the point that he looked like a grown-up classic Sonic. I didn't even know that with Sonic Forces. I only realized it until a year later. Many look at the original model as an evolution of Sonic, someone who's grown up with experience. Here, while he feels grown up, it doesn't look like he has. All that happened was that he got taller and colored contacts. And to be completely honest, I don't really care. As long as the story's nice and the gameplay's great, I don't get triggered by these changes. And besides, the texture on his gloves and quills are immaculate, and in Frontiers, having the sunset in this cutscene where you see his textures to where he looks like a velvet carpet is nice. The Legend of Zelda has some redesigns in the past to where they have these epic shots in the art where you're about to embark on this spectacular adventure. It was like this up until Majora's Mask, and I say this because... Picture this, you're a Zelda fan and you saw this tech demo for the GameCube and thinking, is this what the next Zelda game is gonna look like? And then you weep. So, why the design change? I don't know. With the cartoony cel-shaded look they gave to Wind Waker, everybody thought this game was gonna flop. But no, everybody enjoyed it for what it had to offer and it became the best Zelda game ever, even to this day with people still talking about it. Twilight Princess kept the promise for a grittier Zelda game, and everyone ate it up, where realistic looking people and cel shading became the future of the Zelda series. But some reason most game series go for a hodgepodge of designs. Crash Bandicoot released on the PS1 with this baby-eating f*** of a design. To be fair, they wanted this character to look like an insane looking cartoon character for what the game represents. They still kept that cartoony feel with how Crash looks until Crash of the Titans. Yeah, I get nothing here. By 2016, they remade the first 3 games and gave him the fur detail treatment and made him look like he had games in the past 5 years. It looks alright, but now with Crash Bandicoot 4 and Crash Team Rumble, wow. Kid Icarus got an amazing glow up in the 2000s to where he eventually got another game. But hey, where most game characters change their styles through time, Mega Man has always had that same anime aesthetic for the longest time. No matter which Mega Man is it, Classic, Zero, X, Ballnet, Battle Network, they had that anime style to them. And that was most of the video game characters that had some facelifts or fashion changes. Except Star Fox, cause what makes you think this was acceptable for children? With these characters we grew up knowing where they change very subtly to look like the original, or remain the same through time, really makes me think that game companies care about their game's image. When you look at some designs that some companies use for their characters, a majority of them are built on top of them to make them more detailed and fleshed out versions of themselves. Sure, we could let some things happen, but it's never the final say for these characters. Sometimes the new design is worse than the last one, but time goes on and we may accept it and go on, or they'll redesign it to unify what everybody liked in them in the first place. Video game character designs are a hoot, and with a new game or console, it's always fun to see how these characters would look. By all means, look at the Smash Bros models. I'm not actually joking, I actually favor these things. I mean, by all means, how else are you gonna beat overall denim?